Hey guys, what's up? It's Zyflin here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Zenith. This is a weapon that you get for logging into Warframe for an absurd amount of times. Now you can have the choice between the Zenith, the Zenith Star, and the other weapon's name escapes me, but it's something to do with like a Zenith theme or whatever. But basically, this weapon you get from logging into the game, it's a very unique weapon in the sense that it's got like a unique firing mode that I'll show off to you guys. I've got 3 builds to show you as well. Modding it is kind of unique as well. It's not modded how you would sort of expect to mod it. Like at base, it's got 10% crit chance, but you can pull off crit builds on it quite well. I would say that you're probably better off going for like a hybrid build on it, where you've got a mixture of like status chance mods and crit mods. So even though it hasn't got the crit stats for like a 100 munitions build, you can still pull it off. But config B, which is my raw crit build, or config C, which is sort of just a hybrid build between status and crit, those builds might be a little bit more favorable to you depending on just how you play the game. But lo and behold, I'll show you all of the builds in today's video anyway. So to begin with, we go with my 100 munitions viral beam build that I usually show off whenever it comes to high crit rifles. We've got 25% crit on this one, so it's not the highest crit chance stat in the world, meaning you're not always going to be applying like a ton of slash procs with 100 munitions. But the thing is, because it's IPS and it's predominantly slash, you're still going to be applying a ton of slash procs anyway. So just having more slash procs on top of that, it doesn't hurt, right? You're still going to be dealing a ton of damage with it. So we've got Serration for damage, Split Chamber for multi-shot, Vital Sense for crit damage, Point Strike for critical chance, Malignant Force and Remembrance for our viral, which makes it so we deal more damage to the enemy's health. And then we've got our 100 munitions for the added slash procs, and then Prime Being of Corrupted, so our slash procs deal 2.4 times extra damage, right? So this build, I'll demonstrate to you guys first. It's a pretty nice build. Make sure to be consistently landing your headshots as well, because the headshot multiplier is going to affect your damage a pretty hefty amount, as you would imagine, right? So we've got our full auto mode. We just hold down left click, shoot the enemy's head. We apply our slash procs and our viral procs. So, you know, that still works out. You don't have to, you know, lay into the enemy like for a long time. You can get them to like quarter health, then stop firing. And then, or you can take away a quarter of his health, then stop firing. And then he sort of just dies because of the amount of slash procs you've got on. The viral procs, because you've got such a high status chance on this weapon, you know, you're proccing those viral procs, you're proccing those slash procs, and it just works out, you know, it just works. It's a good weapon to use. It's really fun and nice. So the alt fire, which is the interesting thing about this, actually lets you shoot enemies through walls. It's a wall hack basically, right? So you shut out this little disc, right? So there's a little disc. That disc is going to rise up, and you can see that we can see the enemies through the wall, right? And the middle of these circles is their head. So you shoot, you deal damage, you shoot, you deal damage, you shoot, you deal damage. It doesn't matter how far away you are, you can deal a hefty amount of damage through surfaces with this. So we're all the way back here, shoot, deal damage, right? So it's crazy unique. It's a shame that Warframe is so fast-paced, otherwise this weapon would be insane. Because there's not a lot of surfaces for enemies to hide behind, and on top of that, you sort of have to like shoot this little disc thing where the enemies are going to be. This is best for sort of like spawn killing enemies, right? So shooting this into a little room where all the enemies spawn, and then going like way back over to a room that you want to like maybe, you know, I don't know, protect an objective in, and then just shooting the enemies through the wall is probably the best way to go about this. But you deal some insane damage through the wall. It just takes a few clicks and the enemies are dead. You're shooting these little dots through the wall. They can't do anything to protect themselves from you, and they're just gonna die. So, you know, it doesn't matter what build you're using. It's still insane. And that little disc wall hack is gonna stay there until you have to reload the gun. So if we you know, expend all of our ammo, you expend more ammo per shot with this firing mode as well. You'll see that as soon as we have to reload, the wall hack is gonna go away. That's implying we don't kill all the bad guys. Nah, we're good. We're good. So let's just expend the rest of our ammo. There you go. We reload and it's gone. So, you know, pretty decent. Here's just the full auto mode for demonstration purposes, right? Just so you can get a good idea of how damaging the weapon is. Those slash procs and viral procs are insane. And that's with your 100 munitions build, which this weapon isn't necessarily like 110% spec'd for, right? Like the crit The crit chance stat is rather low, which usually means that you wouldn't be getting a lot of slash procs off of your crits, but because the status chance is so high, it sort of counteracts that. And having hunting munitions on, it just sort of helps it out just a little bit more and helps you deal a little bit more damage with it, right? So that is that build. If you're going to run this build, you want to run it exactly how it is here. Moving out the prime beam mod, for example, is going to hurt you. Changing the element to corrosive is going to hurt as well. It's just going to make it so the build is overall worse. So if you can't match the build exactly, don't bother trying to run this build. You maybe want to go for something along this line. So this is just your raw crit. So you got your 25% crit here, but then on your secondary fire, alt fire, we've got 87.5. So the crit stats on the secondary fire are much more appealing, right? So doesn't mean you can't use the full auto in crit or with this raw crit build. So, it's pretty self-explanatory. Serration, split chambers for damage multi-shot, prime shred for more fire rate, which is increasing your DPS. Vital Sense, Point Strike for critical chance, critical damage, then your elemental combos. So we got corrosive and fire. So Infect, Eclipse, Stormbringer, Toxin, and Electric for corrosive, then fire to top that off. Because you've got corrosive and fire, you're going to be stripping a lot of armor. You can't completely strip armor anymore because of the changes with the Warframe Revisited update, but it's still really damn good, right? So let's use this build, spawn in all the bad guys, and we'll use our full auto fire first. So pretty damn good damage, man. Pretty damn good. So you got the increased fire rate of the shred, and because you're using shred, you've also got that punch rate as well. So you're able to shoot enemies, free enemies, which is really nice, right? It's cool. You can swap the shred out for the likes of bladed rounds, for example, if you wanted more damage. So let's just go ahead and swap that up now. Of course, this is going to decrease our fire rate because we're not using shred anymore. But bladed rounds is going to make it so we deal more critical damage whenever we're aiming down sights, right? Which might be beneficial for this weapon. You got to get a kill first for it to sort of take effect. So you get your first kill. Takes a little while. And now we've got the bladed rounds buff. We deal more crit damage while we're aiming down sights, which is nice. It's helping out with our DPS, right? So you can run bladed rounds if you want. Bladed rounds is a pretty damn effective mod. But it's totally down to you. You could even remove the Hellfire if you wanted to, right? You could throw on Prime Shred, Bladed Rounds, Corrosive. So in Hellfire's place, you put your Prime Shred. Totally up to you what you want to do. It depends on the enemies that you're going against. It depends what type of content you're playing. But those are just the options that you can sort of explore with this type of build. For one, I just prefer my Prime Shred because I like the added fire rate. It's just nice and enemies die faster, especially with the current meta of the game where enemies don't really go past level 100 and your daily star chart missions like your Cuba Liches and your Swordies and stuff like that. So there's really no need to run anything too insane. I always gravitate towards this here build anyway because just shooting at an enemy and then watching the slash procs finish him off is for some reason really appealing to me, but so the last but not least, we've got a sort of hybrid build. So it's still your crit with Point Strike and Vital Sense. You still got your Prime Shred for your increased fire rate, which you can replace for your bladed rounds, but we've also got Serration Split Chamber, obviously for our damage multi-shot. And then instead of using your 90% elemental damage mods, you've got your 60/60s, right? To increase the status chance. We've got our status chance all the way up to 95.2. And in this build in particular, I'm running Viral and Fire. So this is good because you're able to apply your slash procs, you're able to apply your viral procs, and you're also able to reduce the enemy's armor with the heat, right? So this is a really good build at the moment to try out if you haven't tried out like any hybrid rifle builds since you came back to the game after Warframe Revisited update. This is a really, really, really solid build to run. And honestly, it's just really funny to watch the enemies sort of dance because they're on fire all the time. So the DPS is really damn good in this, and it's just really appealing to use, at least for me. You can start shooting at the enemies and stop and see that the fire procs and the slash procs are just eating away at the enemy's health there. So really nice to use, at least in my opinion. It's a really fun build, just watching enemies be set on fire. Of course, whenever you're playing normally, you're not going to be playing against corrupted heavy gunners all the time. So there's that to keep in mind as well. So you don't have to worry too much about not killing these guys omega fast like other weapons might, like maybe a one-tap Cornfire or something like that. But the more you shoot the bad guy, faster he's going to die. That's obvious. But yeah, that's 3 different builds you can explore with the Zenith. The Zenith is a pretty damn fun gun. I should probably use it a lot more because it's one of the rifles that is more well-rounded, right? Where you've got your pretty fast reload speed. You don't have to sort of like use something to buff the reload speed. You don't have to use anything to buff the fire rate either necessarily. If you're using Prime Shred, for example, even then, like the fire rate on its own without any fire rate buffing mods is still pretty decent. But you know, whenever you do put like Gauss's 4 into the mix, it just goes Bert. It honestly just goes Bert. It's crazy, it's fun, it's cool, it's nice, it's a nice weapon. If you log into the game enough to pick this weapon up, it's definitely worth a try, definitely worth the forma. So yeah, that is gonna be it for the video after we kill this guy. Die, bad guy. There you go, that's him dead. That's gonna be it for the video, guys. If you enjoyed it, go ahead, hit that like button below, and if you want to see more Warframe content from me, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye, guys.